What's going on? This is my post-ride review of the 2025 Suzuki GSXR 750. I'll post up my ride-along video in the description below. Now, before I dive too deep into my thoughts on this machine, I've got to send a huge thank you to Hunter, Tommy, and the rest of the crew over at Stub Cycles for allowing me the opportunity to bring you this motorcycle. And as it is 2025, we should all join in and wish the GSXR 750 a very happy birthday. This year marks 40 years of the GSXR 750, and some would argue that it has about the same technology suite today that it did 40 years ago. Now, does that necessarily mean that that's a bad thing? Yeah, not so much. Look, I get it. If Suzuki were to bring this motorcycle into the modern era with maybe a TFT screen, a quick shifter, or rider modes, yeah, I can see where that might be a bit of a benefit for some. But for others, and for a vast majority of GSXR 750 owners, they would argue that it is because of the analog riding experience that they get with this bike. Well, that's what gives it so much character for them, because there's no technology to glitch and be distracting. You are the quick shifter. You are the blipper, if you will. And these guys truly appreciate that. And so any new technology, although probably welcome by some, would be just looked past by many for this bike. And, well, Suzuki sells every one of the GSXR 750s that they make, so they're definitely onto something in that respect. Now, what's this thing like to ride? Well, it has all the flickability of a 600cc middleweight sport bike, and it's got almost the power of many of the leader class bikes, maybe from back in the day. Not so much from a modern era, but at 150 horsepower, it certainly is not lacking for power. And in its class, there's no other motorcycle that can touch this in terms of outright performance. And it doesn't just stop there. Guys, the handling, the ergonomics of this machine are also very inviting. It's very intuitive in how this motorcycle transitions when you are in the saddle, but it is as you are in the saddle and riding this machine that you find very quickly that this thing's rather comfortable. The Showa big piston forks, the whole suspension package as a whole is very compliant from the factory. It soaks up bumps very nicely. Foot position is not overly committed. I mean, it is a sport bike, but it's not crazy committed like some others may be. The reach to the handlebars is very comfortable. I think you get the idea. In a lot of ways, the ergonomics are also part of the throwback riding experience, where this motorcycle does seem to be meant for people that are, say, taller, 5'10", maybe 6'1", 6'2", you're going to find yourself very comfortable on this machine, whereas with other bikes, you may not. Now, from a value proposition, well, that's where the GSXR 750 shines, because you get all of the ergonomics, all of that analog goodness, you get all of that great GSXR 750 intake howl, you get all of that theater for just a tick over $13,000, which puts it in some pretty interesting categories. Because if you look at it from a middleweight point of view, it's kind of right in the middle in terms of pricing, but it's at the very top when it comes to outright performance. About the only bikes that will give this motorcycle maybe a run for its money, if that's the right way to put it, might be some of these newer super sport bikes that are coming down the pipeline. Think Yamaha R9, the RCR 990, maybe the V2 Panigale from Ducati. These are some of the motorcycles that would, at least from a power to weight point of view, give this motorcycle its most competition, but none of them will come close to it in terms of outright horsepower and performance. So with the R9 being the closest in price, the KTM and the Ducati being so far into the stratosphere that they almost don't even count for conversation, is there a better value out there? Is there a better motorcycle for the dollar than the GSXR 750? Guys, I'm not sure that there is. And it's because of that fact that it has been with us now for 40 whole years. And by the way that this is going, it'll probably be with us for another 40 years. And who knows, it might not be that different than the one that you're watching this video on today. So with that, guys, post up your comments. Let me know what you think about that motorcycle. Don't forget, check out the ride along video in the description below, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by, guys.